opposition member of Parliament, Everald Warmington, is being condemned for his utterances against Youth and Culture Minister Lisa Hanna. Mr. Warmington called Miss Hanna a Jezebel during Tuesday's sitting of Parliament. Opposition firebrand and Member of Parliament for South West St. Catherine, Everald Warmington, has been infamous for his less than respectful utterances to members of the media and even his colleagues. But many persons argue that his fury unleashed against Youth and Culture Minister Lisa Hanna dipped to an extreme low. Mr. Warmington referred to Miss Hanna as a Jezebel in Gordon House on Tuesday as both sides of the House descended into a shouting match over the government's 10% increase to the minimum wage. Opposition members insisted that the meager offer was an insult to workers. Miss Hanna, in her support for her colleague Labour and Social Security Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson, was characterized as a Jezebel by Mr. Warmington.
Use the word pleasure. Don't ask me first. He said he did not use the word. I shall not say that. Mr. Speaker, regardless of it, he said he did not use the word pleasure. And he said, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, calm me down. Mr. Speaker, is that true? Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, just a moment, please. When the police look at your copy.
Miss Hanna didn't get a chance to defend herself at Gordon House, but on Wednesday she took to social media ridiculing Mr. Warmington's uncouth behavior. In an Instagram post, the youth minister labeled Mr. Warmington's behavior as obnoxious. Miss Hanna said she wasn't surprised by his action. She said, quote, "Much as I would prefer to be surprised at such grossly unparliamentary behavior by a colleague, I am forced to confess that Mr. Warmington's misconduct is no surprise. Based on his history, he seems to have a problem with women in general and an obsessive compulsion with me." Ms. Hanna explained that Mr. Warmington has complained to the Speaker of the House about her pants being too tight. She noted that he constantly makes faces at her in Parliament and has raised a motion about how women should dress. Meanwhile, Mr. Warmington's behavior is also being scrutinized by the wider public. Veteran trade unionist Helen Davis White believes the Parliament should discipline the controversial MP.
Mr. Warmington's behavior has been, to say the least, inappropriate and in some instances downright disgraceful. Just this morning, we attended a National Leadership Prayer Breakfast. And that was one of the themes of the pastor, that, leaders have to be able to lead by example, and certainly in terms of what happens in Gordon House. I think our parliamentarians have to recognize that they are setting examples for others to follow. And certainly the example that Mr. Warmington has been setting is something that I'm sure most of us would not want our children to emulate.
Mrs. Davis White says Mr. Warmington's actions should be condemned. She contends that Mr. Warmington's behavior is unbecoming of a national leader.
Certainly name-calling and getting personal cannot be an accepted standard. I think the Parliament now has to move to establish clear standards of behavior, and once those are breached, that they need to move and to act against persons who breach those standards. I mean, right across Jamaica, we are having this kind of coarse and crass behavior, and some of us are saying it is no wonder when our leaders behave that way. So I think Mr. Warmington's behavior, whether it was to a woman or to a man, is just unacceptable, disgraceful, and has to be roundly condemned.
But it isn't the first time Mr. Warmington has been found wanting. Last year, October, he had to apologize to a Gleaner intern for unleashing an expletive-laced tirade, and days later he was caught on camera showing reporters his middle finger at the party's Belmont Road headquarters. Convener for Families Against State Terrorism FAST, Mrs. Yvonne McCullough-Sobers, argues that the Jamaica Labour Party leader Andrew Holness should take action against Mr. Warmington. But is the JLP afraid of Mr. Warmington?
I think that it is past time for any political party to focus on respect for everybody. Them in them own party, because some now are acting disrespectful to those in their own party. Here you have a serious matter of gender disrespect to a fellow politician. Mr. Warmington clearly has a temper and clearly has no boundaries. Something that sends a clear message that this is not on and not to be repeated. Mr. Warmington he has just been so offensive over the years to so many people and clearly get away with it.